This is All Things Nerd Production.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Kobolds in the Basement podcast. My name is Chad Hillson. I'm your game master. We are joined with Dave Morris.
First I had a goat, now I'm on a boat. Caster Flamebeard.
Schaloan Dysland.
Whipping thorns and killing dwarves. It's Luminora.
And Steven Dysland.
You're dead shot in the dark, Valerian.
So let's get into it. This is Kobolds in the Basement. All right. So before I can't get over Caster's.
Do we want to do that again, not laughing?
No, absolutely not. I want that in there. That's hilarious. So before we get into this session, let's do a quick recap of the last episode. So our heroes, as they descended into the dungeons beneath, I don't know, the best way that I can phrase it is a haunted mansion with puzzles and stuff like that. You know, they go through a bunch of tunnels, finding a bunch of stuff for them, getting very uneasy at the fact that there's no one in these tunnels to cause any sort of trouble for them. They find a handful of potions, some known, some unknown, deemed the new official lava lamp of D&D, as well as some barrels and casks full of a black sludge that resembles the rumors of this disease that they have come across and heard about that is plaguing the continent. As they descend further, both through this dungeon tunnels into a warehouse and then even further down into an excavation site, they come across some kobolds working and dumping said sludge into a stream, river, don't really know because they're so far underground, as well as a couple of cursed dwargers with some milky glass eyes that are darkened, that are now bleeding as they are attacked more black sludge. As they fight them off, our heroes decide to take a rowboat downstream to see where it leads. And that's where we are now.
You know, you could call that little stream a crick.
You could call it a crick, but
Something
we're not
was
going
kind of a
to.
miss in that crick.
Yeah, we're not going to do that, though, because we're not unionized, and that sounds wrong. So now our heroes find themselves on this rowboat going downstream. And so with that, let's go ahead and get all of our heroes' tokens onto the map with this little rowboat down in the lower right-hand corner. So go ahead and draw your characters on it. So as you're leaving this cavernous excavation site, you get on the boat, you untie it. There's a single paddle, so you can at least get momentum, but there is a current dragging you through this. You go underneath a waterfall as just water from the excavation site is going, and after a little while, you find yourselves out in the open air. You are now on the other side of a bluff, hill, whatever you want to call it. It's not tall enough to be a mountain. And it almost doesn't make sense as to how far down you perceived you went underground to get into this boat and up and stuff like that. So that's where we find our heroes. And Dysland, if you want to put your token out on this rowboat, that would be fantastic, and then we can go from there.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see the rowboat. I wasn't zoomed out enough.
It's been there since before we started recording, but
I was zoomed in a little bit too far.
I won't hold it against you because I love you.
I love you too.
You landed on top of Luminora here.
No comment.
In a character building way, you guys haven't gone that far, you know? In real life, you guys are married, and it's sweet.
No, I don't. Not on a boat.
Everybody look at me, because I'm on a motherfucking boat.
Without a goat.
Oh. All
Sorry,
right.
I got my swim trunks and my flippy floppies.
Flippy floppies.
You at Kinko's ice straight up flipping copies. All right. So as you're on this boat, you're riding downstream for a little bit. You know, the sun is starting to rise up over the horizon. You know, so now it's not as dark as when you went into that creepy ass mansion where you encountered the same skeleton several times. But you know, you're making your way downtown, looking fast, talking fast, and you're on your way now.
I'm probably the only one who got that reference.
You probably were, at least in this particular recording. So you're making your way down there. The rapids are kind of starting to take you. So really, you only have to steer at this point in time. You don't have to keep paddling, Cass, because there was only one row, and you know, based on your strength compared to the other people in the party, you know, it just made more sense for you to be homing that. As you start going, you got 60 feet of vision. I need everyone, not everyone, but I need a deck save. So it's going to be a group deck save. So 2 out of 3 need a pass.
That'll be me.
Yeah, not me.
Oh, only a 10.
14. And
That is a nat 1 for a 0, baby.
oh,
Nat 1
luckily it was only a DC 10 to do this. Why can I not select everyone on the map? That's frustrating.
Are you set on reveal?
Well, I'm on objects. There it is. So as you move your way, why can't I rotate it? That's dumb. I don't like this.
Yeah, well, yeah, you'd have to like group all the icons.
I did because I moved them up. But whatever. If it doesn't work, I'll just make it work. So as you start making your way downtown, if you will, I need everyone to roll initiative.
Oy.
Dun dun dun.
Woohoo. I'm rolling well already this session. That is a 2, which becomes a 1 on initiative.
That's a 19 for me, DM.
And a 22 for me.
22. You got a 19, so I can delete that one. Delete that one. And then, what did the kobolds get? Oh, solid 9. Fantastic. All right, so I don't know how everyone didn't get included in that one. Yeah, we're going to pretend everyone stayed with the boat for that one. Yeah, so with that, as you're making your way down this stream, you dodge the first big boulder, and as you start to pass, you see 3 kobolds in your pathway, and Luminora, that is your turn.
What's up, guys? Nothing to see here.
Just does the starts whistling.
Ice Knife is a spell, right?
Yeah, it's a first level spell.
Okay.
First level spell.
I'm gonna chill touch this one on the left of us, on the left of the cliff here.
And describe what it looks like as you cast it.
It's a pure white, ghostly skeleton hand. I'm gonna add a little touch too. I'm gonna say it's kind of like it's leaving a trail of like purple and blue mist as it goes, just barely behind it. And it evaporates as it continues on. Continues on to touch the target. Aiming to. It's 18 to hit. Does 18
Yeah,
hit?
18 definitely hits, so roll for damage. So this ghostly white hand with some like blue and purple mist that trails off just fades to just white fog as it goes. You know, it makes its way up the cliffside, hits this kobold for 2 damage.
For 2 damage. Unfortunately.
I mean, it hits and it definitely reacts to it. I mean, it's still standing, but it definitely starts to act like it's just not okay. You know, like something's wrong with this creature now, and it's very hurt, and it doesn't know how to react to this decrepit, cold ghost hand that just slashed at it. You know, clawed at it.
Mm-hmm.
So then from there, we're going to go down to Valerian.
Let's see. So,
We got 2 to port, 2 to starboard.
And you almost hear like the Jurassic Park raptors just as they're like talking to each other.
that was a great rendition.
I tried.
Okay. This boulder, there's a boulder, I assume. Is this...
Yes. So the one directly to your right, it's going to have like 75% cover. So you're going to be hitting with disadvantage if you aim at that one.
Okay. J. Edgar, Hoover Boy, is going to fly to the one on the starboard side that I can see most of.
Starboard to the right.
That is the right.
I should
He's
know.
gonna fly over to him. And then Valerian's gonna whip out his hand crossbow and
Does he
Fire.
pull his mask down first?
sensing that
He just seems to do that a lot.
no, let me backtrack this.
We all know who the heck you are. Just hurry up and shoot.
No, he'll leave it off, but yeah, he's gonna shoot a crossbow bolt at the kobold that is on the starboard side there. And he shoots for a 16.
It's your long range,
I am.
so it's a straight roll.
That's a 7.
You know, you pull out the crossbow, don't bother with the mask, but Jagger is over there and you hear it rustle and rip through the brush that's along the edge of the river and just shoots right past the kobold. They like turn their head to look at it, but they don't really react because it's a solid miss.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to ask: what color scales are these kobolds?
These kobolds outside have kind of like a grayish red scale. You know, they get some sunlight to where they can actually like develop some sort of color, but it looks sickly. That's kind of the kobolds that you've been coming across for the most part since you entered the Mournlands. Is they kind of have this grayish, sick, deep red. It's like a gray with a hint of red.
Valerian takes his second shot at the same guy. Missing again, I assume, with
For
an
an
11.
11 does miss. This one just kind of like clips the top of its shoulder. It gets a little bit closer, but not enough to pierce. It just pings right off the scales. And again, you just hear the of them talking.
And Luminora hear what they're saying then?
Yeah, because you speak Draconic. They're basically just saying along the lines of, "There's enemies. I just got hit, but it didn't do anything." Like, they're just reacting basically to the situation. They're give me a perception check, Luminora. There's some kobolds outside, and you saw them with a nat 1. I mean, it turned to a 7, but there's some kobolds around, and they saw you, and then you started shooting. And they're like, "Shit, fire our shit."
Okay.
So then from there, is there anything else that?
Sorry.
No, it's still you, Valerian. Is there anything else that you want to do?
Jade, here's gonna. I don't think he'll make it all the way back to me, but he's gonna start flying back my way. So he's kind of like somewhere between our boat and the kobold, and after missing both of those shots and realizing that he's getting more or less ambushed here, after he misses his second shot, he kind of sits back down on the rowboat and he just kind of like whispers like, "Ah, shit," under his breath, and he slides his mask on.
All right. So then from there, it goes to the kobolds. You know, the one that was kind of behind the boulder is going to run up towards the other one on the starboard side. They're just kind of clumped together, if you will. And then those 4 that you can see are going to use their sling. 2 of them are going to aim it at the actual rowboat, which means that I should probably know what the rowboat's HP is. There it is. Okay. Wait. Okay. So the first kobold is gonna throw its sling. The 2 on the port side, or the starboard side, sorry, are going to sling. The first one goes into the water. The second one crits. Only for 9. So just as you're sitting there, as the boat's going down the creek, as it's picking up some speed, all of a sudden a rock goes through the side. No water's being taken in yet, but it does do a little bit of damage. And that's, I mean, it's not fun, let's be honest. So a rock goes through and it kind of like goes straight through the wood and like kind of like bounces around the bottom of the boat. The other 2 kobolds on the port side are still also going to throw their slings. The first one is going to be at Valerian for 13, which I'm assuming misses.
That does miss.
And the second one for 10 at Luminora. So both of these just, you know, rocks are just being thrown past you. Not a whole lot is happening with that. So from there, it's going to go to Caster. Sir Cast Flamebeard.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna pull out a javelin and throw it at the closer of the 2. Be like, all right, let's go spearfishing. That is a 22 to hit.
22 definitely hits. Go ahead and roll the damage.
So that is 6. That
So-
doesn't get dueling. So 6 piercing.
As you wind up to throw this, what's going on? Like, you know, how do you want to do this?
I've got the whole big epic, you know, reach back, quarterback pose. And I'm just like, he's wide open, and I just rip it like a good 50-yard pass right in, and he's like, he just gets the doe-eye, you know, deer headlights frozen as it comes in and puts his arms up, and it just skewers him right in the chest.
Here's him right into the chest. Give me a strength roll to see how epically this dude is tossed.
Strength check. That's only a 9.
Okay, so it goes into him. He stumbles back and falls down dead. But the spear goes through him. Ouch. Comes out the backside. stumbles back and falls over. Just, Luminora, you just hear him go, "Fuck!" as this spear goes through him and he stumbles backwards.
One down. Just hope more don't show up while we're kind of a sitting duck in this boat here.
All right. So then with the next bit, so that's going to be to the top of the order. So with that, I need everyone to roll deck saves.
Yeah, crap.
This is going to be a group deck save.
That would be a 9.
17 for me.
9 out of 17.
2 9s and a 17.
Okay. So as you're kind of navigating between the rocks, there's scuffle going on at the top of the... It's not a super tall embankment, but enough so rocks start falling. So whoever wants to roll me a d10.
3.
Okay. So with that, some rocks are starting to fall, some gravel, some dirt. It's hitting the edge of the boat. It's splintering, it's cracking, the boat's rocking, taking in a little bit of water, but it's still totally fine. So you take an additional 3 damage from like falling rocks and stuff like that as you're trying to navigate through everything on this creek as you're picking up speed realistically. Then
So is that us taking 3 damage, or
the boat itself?
Oh, the boat itself takes 3. Okay.
Yeah. So you're still doing okay on the boat, and so from there, then it's going to go back to Luminora.
Trying to find a button, sorry. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Luminora is going to Thorn Whip the guy that's on the left here. 21 to hit.
21 definitely hits.
Damage.
So, how does this happen? Finish him. Because obviously the +6 is
If she
you had advantage, but he only had 5 hit points anyway, so it was still enough to murk the dude, and you can eat him off the cliff if you really want to.
I do want to yeet him right off that cliff.
Yeet!
Of course I do. So, send out this thorny whip, lasso right around the neck there, and give a good yank, and he just, he kind of he falls to the ground, but he kind of drags a little bit, so when he reaches that end of the cliff, he just kind of topples, kind of rolls down that cliff right into the water. Just
the Mac and me off the cliffside.
exactly, yep.
I'm surprised that Dysland left that one before Dave did. I thought Mac and me was outside of that age group. And you're not even that much younger than me, but... All right. So, all that happens. So, yeah. Is your thorn whip just traditional, like, dark green vines with thorns, or does it look different because of Luminara?
Guess I never thought about that. It'll be like a light green, not like lime green, but more of a light green towards lime green. And it has thorns, and of course, all of that, maybe some vines on it, but I do want some kind of fungi to kind of sprout out of the thorn whip.
The thorns could be really sharp mushrooms.
I'll leave the thorns.
Okay.
But I kind of want some just mushrooms here and there.
Okay.
On it, yep.
So as that happens, that kobold gets dragged to the ground as the boat starts to pass. It's not so much that you hooked him and yanked him off the cliff. You hooked him, dragged him to the ground because the elevation. Sorry, the elevation difference. And as the boat started to move forward, you just dragged him off.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
And the mushrooms on the thorn whip too, it's not like instant. It kind of just grows as it goes. I don't know. Anyway.
Perfect. And then from there, so then we're going to go back to some of the kobolds. But as you're moving down the river, you see that there's a few more on this rock bridge as you approach it. Might be helpful if it actually like revealed itself as I wanted it to. So the two that were to the starboard are going to run up.
Chad?
It's Mr. Dysland first.
You're right. I am
You
so sorry.
skipped me, bro.
I mean,
I can't believe
you
it.
still moved up far enough to where you can see these kobolds. I'm so sorry. That's my bad, dude.
I'm sad now.
You're the only one that on the initiative order doesn't have your name. It just has a little circle with your picture.
Why is that my fault?
It's not. It just letting you know it's there.
Well, J. Edgar is just in range of one of these kobolds on the bridge here. Well, give me 1 second to. Cool. So it's like this one. Well, we're gonna be going towards. Yeah, I'll focus on these guys on the bridge. So J. Edgar is going to fly over to one of the two kobolds that are up on the bridge. Start pecking at his little dragon face, and
Which
Valerian,
one? The one that's further down, or the one that's
whichever one's closer to us. So yeah, the one that's further down,
cool.
which gives me nothing I do is going to help. Right, 30. Yeah, that one. Okay. And then he's going to shoot a crossbow, which I rolled an 11, so he's going to probably miss that, I assume.
Just misses.
But he
Again,
will take
it's one of
his-
those things where it just like pings off of a shoulder plate.
Oops, I didn't mean to do that. He'll take his second shot, and he'll actually crit with a nat 20.
Fucking nat 20. Roll for damage on that one.
11?
How do you end this dude?
Excuse me. Let's see. I'm going to say Valerian, like, he doesn't aim for the head or center mass. He actually aims, like, for this dude's, like, kneecap. And don't ask me how, but with the nat 20, he gets that crossbow bolt, just, he puts extra tension on that crossbow. And he launches a bolt that goes straight through this thing's, like, kneecaps, or whatever they would have for knees.
Hits the
And-
brachial artery. That's the one in the leg? It's the brachial?
Femoral.
Femoral?
Femoral, thank you. The brachial is the one in the inside of the arm.
Yeah. So it just like it's like a little hand trebuchet, dude. It just barrels itself right through his knee thing, and he screams out and falls right down the bridge into the water in front of us. The blood, like, and you just see like the blood coming up to like the surface, mixing in with the water.
Since you said that, I want you to give me a perception check.
That is an 18, DM.
Because you saw in the cavern, they're dumping the sludge into this creek. As he falls in, bleeding profusely from his leg, as the blood hits the water, it sizzles with some orange and red as the black sludge leaps out of the water to catch the blood and then drags it back into the water.
Gross.
All right. So now it is.
He
the
just kind of
kobolds.
like takes a slight sidestep from the edge of the boat, just to make sure he's got some very good footing.
I don't want to be next to that. So then with that, now it's the kobold's turn. They're going to rush a little bit. I'm going to move them all first before I have them attack. So 3 of them are looking at you as they run up a little bit to keep up with the boat and have a better line of sight. 3 of them have ranged attacks that are all at disadvantage, but they are all going to throw or sling some rocks. The first one is going to be at Cass at 17. Does 17
does not hit.
does not hit. The second one's going to be at Luminora with an 18. Does an 18 hit? You're muted. Muted on.
Yes, it does hit.
Okay.
Sorry.
So an 18 hits for 7 bludgeon. It's just bludgeoning.
6.
Oh, right, just 6. I'm sorry, because the other one would be if it was the crit. And then the third one is gonna sling rocks at Valerian, which is a crit, but only for 7. Yeah, so Luminora takes 6, Valerian takes 7 as just these rocks. They're just like hitting you in the head. You know, it's not even like body shots, bruising arms. Like they're hitting you in the face. Like, you know, it's not comfortable at all. And then, Cass, that's back to you.
Alright, let me see here. How far away is just out of range, aren't they? Yep, they're just out of normal range. So Cass is going to grab the oars and just steady and maybe speed up the boat to get out of their line of fire a little better.
Okay, so with that, is Cass trying to speed things up or just focus on steering the boat?
Steering.
Okay. All right. So then that brings us to the top of the order where the boat is now moving a little bit further. So with that at the top of the order, I need everyone to give me a dex save. But Cass, because you held your action to focus on steering, I will let you take advantage on it.
Single digits. Either way, here I come.
Well, I'll give, because you're focusing on steering, everyone will get advantage on it. 14, 10, 17. Okay, so as you guys are
How the hell did I
navigating,
get the lowest?
as you're navigating down this creek, you know, this land bridge, it's pretty low. So, and you're coming up on it pretty quickly. You know, it's only been 30 seconds really since you encountered anyone. So you're having to maneuver the boat quickly, duck, dodge, dip, dive, and dodge. Oh, no one caught that reference. Okay.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Okay, so someone caught it. So with that, you know, as you're steering, you're able to, Cass is able to yell and be like, "Everybody duck!" You know, as you come up to this land bridge, because it's pretty low, and with a 17 and a 14 as the two highest rolls, you're able to duck under the bridge as you navigate your way underneath it, and that person wasn't supposed to go with, but whatever.
Under the bridge.
So you get under the bridge, everything's good, you know, but now there's people close, but like to your back. You know, the kobolds are now behind you. So then that's going to bring it back up to Luminora.
All right. Oh. So if I use Thunderclap, that also affects the two of them, right?
Yeah,
It's
and
whatever within that 15-foot cube, but it starts from you,
she's
so
thinking
one person would be there.
It's the cantrip she's talking about.
Yeah.
I thought that. I got that and Thunderwave mix up. But yes,
Yep.
Either way, it affects them.
Yeah, because it's a big, basically it's like a big explosion of sound right around you. And geometrically speaking, those kobolds aren't actually within 5 feet. They're like however many feet above us.
Well,
Dug tight plus like 3 feet.
all right. I'm gonna chill touch the one closest to the edge here.
Okay, throw it out.
24 to hit.
It definitely hits. So go ahead and roll for damage as this
Just the one.
ghostly white hand reaches out. Because it's only a 1, there's really no purple and blue fog that follows it. It's just this skeletal hand, it basically just like boops the kobold, just like boop.
Tier 1 cantrips. The pain of rolling 1 damage.
But from there, then it's going to go
Give it a
down
good shot.
to Valerian. It's your turn from there.
J. Edgar Hoover did not go under the bridge with us because he's a flyboy, so he went over the bridge.
Pretty good flyboy.
So he's gonna go to pester one of the kobolds here that are closer to us, and Valerian's gonna try again with that crossbow. Hopefully, at a legitimate advantage this time. And he crits. Nat 20.
It's a bummer that this is a range, so like cleaving rules don't really go to it. But roll for damage.
It's too bad they're not like lined up.
They're just excited.
It's only a 6.
Plus sneak attack.
Oh, plus
It's dead.
I'm still gonna add it.
It's 46 sneak attack because of the crit.
It's so dead.
19
46
plus.
A
19
1 on
plus 6.
all 4 would have without the regular attack. 1s on all 4 of those 46 would have been enough.
Oh, it's a 25.
Explain in as extreme of a fashion how badly do you murder this kobold?
All right. So, Valerian does his awesome little extra power shot that he somehow can only do on crits after he already shot it, but we won't get into that. He shoots dead center. I mean center mass, and this bolt goes like right through him, and it pulls flesh with it. Like the velocity of this thing pulls the flesh that the bolt knocked loose. So I mean, this thing's got just a gaping hole. But Valerian's not quite satisfied, so he actually just shoots him again. Same type of deal. This time he gets a little bit more towards like his chest plate, or his like, the bone of him. The bolt hits him, and the bone stops the bolt from like further going through him. But the momentum just knocks this kobold clear off the other side of the bridge.
Bam. You hear
and there's just a blood trail as he
and
flies.
as you do that, because it's just 2 bolts, one after the other. As you see this kobold like leave its feet and fly to the opposite end of the bridge and tumble over the backside into the water, you hear this clank. And under the bridge, you see the first bolt sticking out of the boulder that is way too far away. Like you just put extra cranks on this crossbow.
Nice.
And then that's going to be the kobolds there. The one that just watched his friend get just yeeted into oblivion. I mean, a couple of them are going to run up, one's going to run to the edge, and then one's going to actually jump off of the backside of this bridge into your boat. And actually, let's see. 2 of them. One's going to get a little bit of a running start and jump onto the boat. Oh, sorry. I did not mean to do that. Yep. One is going to jump onto the tail side of the boat. Yeah, he's there. There's 2 in the boat.
Well, when the first one lands, Cass is like, "This one's too small. Throw it back." And I'll use my reaction to spear him. That is a 15.
Roll for damage.
7.
So one of them that tries to jump in,
Just catch him midair with the spear. He jumps, and I just hold it up, and he falls on it, and then I just kind of tilt it and let them splash into the water.
Lands into the water off to the side. Big ol' splash. The second one lands in the boat. The boat kind of rocks. You know, as the boat... we'll do that in a second. The first one lands. The boat is rocking. And then that kobold is going to... Because he saw Valerian just double bolt his buddy and just throw him, basically. He's going to swing a dagger at him for a 6. Clearly misses, so he lands on the boat. The boat's rocking. He hasn't fully gotten his grounding. Swings, misses. The other ones that are still up on land just don't have clean shots at all. I mean, they'll throw their slings, but it's at disadvantage anyways. Neither of those either hit anyone or the boat. And then from there, because the boat is now rocking, I need like vehicle handling check or anything like that.
That's the thing.
Yeah, proficiency with water vehicles.
Which I don't think any of us have.
I don't know. I think I had space, so...
I don't have anything vehicle related.
Yeah, I've got navigator's tools, smith's tools, leatherworkers, carpenters, thieves, herbalism, alchemist.
Okay, then we'll just to balance it out, I need a group dexterity check, but because now the boat is rocking, I need 2 out of 3 need to get a
Check or save?
yes, save, 15 or higher.
24.
No, that's a 17.
Nice.
The boat rocks, water splashes, but you make it out. And then now, Cass, it's your turn.
Yeah, sees this little stowaway try to get on board our ship and just like stands up. Get off my ship! And I'm just gonna do a shove attack on him.
Get off my plane.
I've had enough of these motherfucking kobolds on this motherfucking boat. So, with a shove attack, it is a contested athletics check between him and I.
Okay, so athletics.
Yeah, strength if he doesn't have athletics proficiency.
Did you guys see what I actually rolled?
Yeah, you got a 2.
Oh, yeah.
I got a 15. So
Yeet.
he's pushed back into the water.
Splash.
I love that.
All right.
I'll take advantage of my high athletics. But you don't have to roll to hit. They got to try to outstrength you.
Fantastic.
I mean, sure, I could have speared him.
I'm glad you didn't.
Well, yeah. Did you see what I just rolled?
Yeah. Still, I'm glad you didn't. The pushing was just so satisfying.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's just the beauty of having a high strength with proficiency in athletics means I can just push somebody to the ground or push somebody off pretty easily. So were we in like a stream, or are we like, where's our...
Yeah.
After we get underneath, where does that take us out of?
So you are, if you look at the map of Corvair,
Yep.
a little bit south of the Crimson Water, kind of like in the middle of the G where it says making.
Yeah, see, we don't see the text this time again.
Okay, well, where I'm pinging, kind of southwest of the Crimson Water. It's not too far west. Okay, so on the map here. This is kind of... I switched the map, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're at the world map.
So we are now just southwest. South by southwest, if you will.
I will not.
Oh. Okay. Of the Crimson Water. So with that, you guys come out of initiative, out of combat. Eventually, the creek, the stream kind of starts to slow down. It's still running, but it slows down enough to where you can casually get out, everything like that. And I know that Cass had called to Gilly to try and get the other mounts to meet them and kind of like follow his location. Give me a luck check. We're going to say 8 and below, none of the horses show up. 8 to 15, one of the horses shows up. 15 and above, all of them show up. Just a random luck check for a d20. Sorry for the interruption, dear heroes, but I just have to ask. Are you like me and my friends, where your food tends to be lacking just a little something extra? If you are, then look no further than Crybaby Craig's hot sauce to fix all of your spicy and saucy needs. Because this pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce will go on practically anything. It was started by Craig himself in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, and this sauce has become a staple of all hot sauces and flavor enhancers across the lands for many, many moons. If you don't believe me, go and check out crybabycraigs.com and order yours today to, quite frankly, just better your life. Or at least your taste buds. But be sure to let them know that we sent you and enjoy the best damn hot sauce there is. Now, let's get back to the show.
That is an 18.
That means that both of the horses, along with Gilly, are waiting for you.
Huzzah.
Good job, Gilly. You be able to follow me?
Yeah, that's a bad goat noise. I'm sorry. Ram noise. But
Forgive you because I love you.
so from there, the trip that you're kind of commissioned on is to head towards the Crimson Water and get as much information as possible about this disease, this illness that is plaguing the surrounding areas outside of the Mournlands. But now you have some sort of insight, or you've at least experienced some of it. So what are you wanting to do? Are you wanting to continue on to the Crimson Water? You want to go back to Ter Valier? Like what do you want to do as a party?
So if what we saw is what we thought we saw, then looks like the illness is spreading because those little now dead bastards were dumping that black stuff into the water. So the question is, why? What's this black stuff do besides move around when you touch it, which is creepy enough on its own? What's the point? I mean, it seems a little short-sighted. I mean, we could go to the Crimson Water, but all I've ever heard is the stagnant lake. But, it's been a while since I've been anywhere near here. I just wonder, if this flow would continue all the way down to the lake to the north, or where it's going. Or we could take this little sample I got back and have somebody take a look at it. What do you two think?
Do you think we could do a Game of Thrones style where I just send Edgar J. Hoover with a little note and the vial?
I wouldn't trust this vial flying over until we're out of the Moorlands, at least. And then we don't know who started this. This Moorlands, as far as I've known, has just been a dead area, so there's nobody really operating out of there except for Warforged, who, for whatever reason, were never affected by it. So there's probably somebody from outside the Moorlands directing these two. Those little. Luminara, you said some of those little things mention a boss. All right, you're super chatty. They have a boss. That means somebody else is pulling the strings here.
Dave, I think I'm just so used to you like like dialoguing as DM. Like when you're talking, I just listen.
Yeah. Look, I like telling stories. I'll talk your ears off, but we got to figure out where to go next. We can go to the Crimson Water. It's not too far to the north. See if there's anything going on there, or we could head back to Terra Valier, or continue our path north up to maybe Griffin Claw, and maybe make our way towards the Lightning Grail.
I think it would be wise to gain as much knowledge on this as we can.
That'll involve staying in the moorland probably and heading up towards the lake of Crimson Water. Me personally, I've had enough of this place, but I do agree we need more answers.
I feel like we should get out of the Mournlands, but I think we need the answers behind whatever's happening. So more innocents, for all we know, aren't dying because of it.
Alright, well, we can head north to the lake in Crimson, and then the border of the Mournlands isn't too far to the east from there. I'd say we go check out the lake. Nothing comes of that, then we at least get ourselves out of the Moorlands for a little bit. Maybe regroup after, and then if we have to go back in, we do after we get a good night's rest someplace a little safer.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. I like that.
All right, so I guess we'll ride north.
All
To the
right.
north.
So as you ride north, are you going to stay to the northeast, like towards the center of the Mournlands, as you come across the Crimson Water, or are you going to kind of try and keep the Crimson Water? Are you going to try and keep yourselves between the border and the Crimson Waters?
I'd want to stay on the eastern side of the lake and keep us close to the border with Valinor.
Okay.
Agreed.
I don't want to venture too far into the Moorlands unless I absolutely have to. That place is scary, yo.
So as you guys start making your way along the southern edge of the Crimson Water, heading more towards the border, but kind of staying within the Mournlands. No, you're riding. Give me perception checks or nature checks. What are you looking for?
So
Not much with a 5.
Cass is looking around to make sure we're not being followed with a 17.
With a 17, as you're riding along, it's especially as you're getting closer and closer to the border. I mean, you see the wall, the ghostly cloud wall. As you get closer and closer. I mean, obviously it's off on the horizon, but you can see it because it's still so massive. But as you're looking around, making sure you're not being followed or anything like that, you notice that there's nothing here. Give me a history check, and it's going to be a super low DC for things that have happened in the past 100 years.
I can't help you.
I have
But
0
You've
history.
you've been back long enough. Still, everyone give me a history check. You've been back long enough to where you've at least talked to people that
21.
could kind of fill you in.
I've been back not even a year yet.
Yeah.
That is a 1, Cotton.
Mahalo.
So with the 1 and the 3 for Luminora and cast. I mean, you're just kind of like looking around. For Valerian, as you're riding, you remember because of your history, which is yours at this point in time. It hasn't been fully shared. You at least remember hearing stories over the past several years of governors, oligarchs, things like that, talking about the Mournlands making a comeback. But as you're riding, you see no proof of this.
Just looks
So it still is barren and desolate. You don't see much of really anything as you're riding.
So that would strike me as quite suspicious.
Yeah, it would seem weird because you would expect. I mean, even back to session 1 for the King's name day, you heard whispers and talks of the Mournlands starting to create small villages where it's more like the Wild West. Like there's
Sure.
little towns along roads, smaller populations, but it's at least a comeback from what it's been for centuries. But as you're riding along, you see no proof, no validation for those claims. So you're riding along, it's gray, it's desolate. There's not a whole lot of life even for nature. It's every now and then you'll see a sick looking tree with leaves, or you'll see like moss, but not a whole lot is standing out to be like, you could live here.
Is it like a widespread kind of like belief that the Mournlands are making a comeback, or is that just kind of something that like, is it one of those what do you call it, Nelson Mandela effect type things?
Give me an investigation check.
19.
So from your travels, from where you came from to where you are now, I mean, you've seen a decent amount of the continent. Over your travels, the things that you have heard about the Mournlands, like starting to heal and repopulate over that time, what you're seeing does not support that at all.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
So you're riding along. What's the plan? Are you trying to get out from the border? Are you trying to just visit the Crimson Waters but still be like on the safe side, so if you have to flee, like what are you guys trying to do?
Yeah, we want to go up and investigate the Crimson Water, but yeah, we want to stay on the eastern side. So if something horrible suddenly crawls out from there, we can flee across the border back into Valinor pretty easily.
Okay.
What time of day is it? I mean, because it was like middle of the night when we went into that place.
Yeah, now you've been riding for several hours. I mean, the sun was kind of coming up as you're on that rowboat through that stream. So probably about midday.
Yeah.
And you're kind of at like the southern tip at this point in time of the Crimson Water. I mean, there's really not a lot in your way, so you're making pretty good time for the distance. But at the same time, you're like in this desolate, dead, forsaken area. And you know that there's disease spreading that you don't understand.
Yeah. I just want to see if like the Crimson Water is still the red like it normally, is known as, or if it's got signs of that black stuff in there.
Okay. Well, you have been riding for a long time. You've been awake for a long time. Do you want to take any sort of rest before you go further? Because then you'll be risking levels of exhaustion. Or do you want to take some sort of long rest and catch up?
I know I'm tired. I know Gilly's
Rest
getting
would-
tired.
I think a rest would do us all some good. We've been through a little bit of shit here.
Long rest would be nice. I just worry about taking one so close to the lake.
I could always stand God.
Because that worked out so well last time.
All is well that ends well.
Do you guys still want to... I mean, how close are we to the lake at this point? You said we're like at like the southern edge.
Yeah, you're like south of it, depending on the distance that you're trying to keep between the Crimson Water and the border. That's kind of up to you. You know, if you want to stay closer to the Crimson Water or if you want to keep it kind of equal distance.
My
'Cause
thought was kind of like ride like straight towards it, and then once we hit the edge of the water, is just kind of go around towards the eastern side. So we should be, you know, closer to maybe like probably like right here right now.
Okay.
Yeah, or like but so we can see the lake. Is it anything off about it, or is there anything going on, or is it just the still?
Give me perception checks.
Yeah, it's a lake.
It's a lake. It's red. For Cass, it's what he expected with less danger. Because right now it's very calm for you. You know, there's not like any of... Oh, God, what are they called? There's no like Kuatoas or foul spawn that you can see or anything like that, but it's fairly calm. You don't see anything. It's just not the most happy place to be in. It's not Disneyland.
Yeah, but it's not like obviously black or anything.
That's not the best place either, just saying.
Yeah, I mean you're several, well, depending on how far you want to actually stop, you're either right up on the shore. Are you right up on the shore? Or are you a few miles out to where you can still see it, but there's distance?
How close you two want to get?
Maybe just within eye shot.
I don't want to be on the shore.
Yeah, I'd probably only want to get within a couple 100 feet.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
maybe get ourselves within like 50 yards or something.
Just
Not
far
on-
enough we can kind of keep
get a
tabs.
decent look at it, but not like I'm not going up and dipping my toe in that.
So from that distance, I mean, give me another perception check. But it's a low DC. We'll say DC 8.
That is a 16.
An 8.
20.
So from the distance that you're at, I mean, it doesn't look hostile. The crimson is starting to look more and more maroon, especially the deeper that the water would get. So as you look further and further into it, it starts to look darker and darker. But there's no like turbulent waters, anything like that. And there's nothing around you except for like dead plant life.
Alright. Well, we probably need to find a place to take a rest for the night if we can. We never really got to finish last night's.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think we should do it anywhere close to this lake.
Mm-mm.
Alright. It's fun. Find some grouped up dead trees and maybe use that as a little bit of cover.
Build a shelter.
So,
Yeah.
Go
Try
ahead.
to find.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
what
gonna
were
say,
you
try to find like a cluster of like dead trees or something that could help just obscure us at least a little bit from vision.
Give me a survival check. Everyone, give me a survival check. It's a low
Survival.
DC. Someone has to get at least above a 12
13 and a 15.
Yeah,
and a 20.
20.
Perfect.
Nice.
So you find a cluster of dead trees that you can kind of like group around, set up your tents. Is there anything that you want to do before you go to bed?
Nothing I can do. My stuff hasn't recharged yet.
Valerian will probably chat with Cass a little bit.
What's on your-
Luminora's gonna just sneak away and pull out a book.
What's on your mind, kid?
So what's it like being, what's it like being back in the world after so long?
Yeah, it's a shock. I leave and right when I left, the war just ended. Things are looking, like they're gonna at least settle down. I come back and nations have changed. I haven't even had the chance to get back to where, the moorlands to even know if any of my clan is even still around. And given what we've potentially run into so far, I don't know if the moorholds are even there anymore. So it's troubling being back here and not knowing what's going on anymore.
I can only imagine the shock you're in. But, we could always try to look for your clan and anyone that might remember you or...
That's gonna be hard. Most of my, unfortunately I was gone long enough that most of my clan that I knew would probably have passed on by now. But
Surely there's descendants or...
hopefully. But like I said, I worry because that we're seeing, these Dalkir, that the seals that were below the moorlands have been broken and they've fought their way out. So that means something that the moorlands as a whole aren't what they used to be. And I'm not sure I'm ready to go back and see what they are now.
Well, at least you're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah. At the same time, I also have the back of my mind wondering what the heck happened to my crew. Whatever happened to them? They risked everything to get me back here. And last I saw them, they were in the world of shit.
I'm sure they made it out. We'll search for them.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than you think.
Well, you can count on my help.
Yeah. So, what's with the mask?
Well, that's a long story. It's an old trinket, really. Nothing special about it. Just it was my mother's at one point, but it's more of a sentiment, really. Gives me a sense of fearlessness. Hard to explain. I don't fully understand it myself.
Fearlessness can be both good and bad at the same time. Fear can keep you alive.
As I've learned through many years, fear is a weapon that, when used correctly, is quite powerful, but in the wrong hands, it's monstrous.
True. The difference is everybody is allowed to be afraid. The difference is, what do you do when you are afraid? Do you let it take over you, or do you take over it?
I suppose that's a question everyone has to answer at some point.
Yeah. But
Where's our other friend, by the way?
oh, no, I'm sure she's around here somewhere. But it's getting late, and unlike you, I need, a full 8 hours.
Oh, I suppose you do have that problem.
Yeah.
Very well. Thanks for the talk.
Yep. Sure, we can talk more on the next stop.
Rest easy, my friend. We have a long journey.
That we do. Alright, so Cass is going to bed.
So as Cass retires to his chambers isn't the right word because it's a tent, but as Cass, goes off to his tent and going on, is there anything that Cass is trying to do before he goes to bed?
Yeah, maybe it's just one last little bit of safety before he goes to bed. He's just going to look around, and I will use my last divine sense of the day to make sure nothing's in our immediate area.
In divine sense, is evil, undead, and
Celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet.
okay. Nothing.
Alright. I don't like, one last little check before you sleep. And so he's just gonna give Gilly one more pat, feed her some, be like, thanks for your help today, girl. I think we got another long day ahead of us tomorrow.
She nuzzles you.
Yeah.
All right. Valerian and Luminora, what are you doing at this point in time?
I'm going to say Valerian probably, at least, if nothing else, would go to on Luminora. Just pop head around a tree and just see if she's, hanging in there.
All right. Have that conversation.
Hello.
Hi. So are you hanging in there? Right before that, for some reason, you broke up on my end.
I just pop in and say hello.
Oh. Luminora just looks up from her book and says, hello.
What you reading?
Oh, it's really not that interesting. Have you had a walk around?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Have you had a walk around?
One more time, I'm sorry. I'll turn you up a little bit.
Have you had a walk around?
No, not really. Just had a little talk with Cass, but
I know.
just wanted to see how you're doing and make sure that everything's all right with you. Tip top.
Sorry, guys. Oakley here.
He's giving trying to give her the biggest smile he can and thumbs up in her yeah, good. You good? We good?
Yeah, she just has book in hand and gently resting it on her lap, stomach, kind of, where you lower a book and lay it down, chatting with you here, and I'm good.
Great to hear. Well, I'll be sleeping over there, and I think I can hear Cass snoring already, so if you do need anything, wake me up. If you don't need anything, well, you seem set.
Well, thank you very much.
My word. Did something kind just come out of your mouth? Brilliant. Farewell, my lady. Good night.
Good night.
And with that, Valerian tucks into his little tent. J. Edgar Hoover perches himself above, on his little tent post. And he falls asleep.
So the night
He does not sleep.
It's a very important thing to add in there. But so the night starts to drop. Now it's the middle of the night. It is pitch black even with no light pollution. The sky is empty. It's just gray clouds. It is darker than any dungeon anyone has ever seen. It's darker than the astral plane, and with that, as everyone's sleeping, everyone give me a perception check.
Oh, technically, Luminora hasn't gone to sleep yet. So does that help anything?
I'll let you roll with advantage.
Also, I am in a trance.
Yeah, there's that too. Well, oh wait, you?
I guess I should have mentioned.
Well, yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he doesn't sleep. He trances for 4 hours.
Same.
Half elf sleep.
Oh, they do?
Yep.
Oh, Chad, you told me a trance.
I thought that was a druid thing.
Nope, it's a elven thing.
My bad.
Don't you remember Hardwon taking his hard 8-hour trances?
Oh. Yeah, but I thought I don't trust a lot of those rules anymore, you know? Okay. You know what, that's enough. So Luminora hasn't gone to sleep yet, even though it's been a few hours.
At this point, she has stayed up way too late reading and is kind of like doing you're reading your book, kind of dozing, jerk, and read a little bit more. So she's definitely falling asleep at this point.
Cool. Then, no offense, I'm going to take that 18.
That's fine. I thought I did the trance, not the full sleep, so she wouldn't be asleep until, Anyway.
So with an 18, sorry, Cass, with a 4 or a 7, you are just
I'm out.
you've triple counted a single sheep. Like you're just so out. But with an 18 for both Valerian and Luminora, you hear a little bit of rustling outside of your tents. So it doesn't it wakes you enough. So both Valerian and Luminora, I'm gonna ask for a second perception check or survival check, either one.
A 20.
Nat 20!
Double nat 1.
So Valerian, you kind of break, you hear this rustling, and you're like,
Must be the wind.
exactly. You're like, oh, something woke me up. Like, I'm gonna stand at the front of my tent and pee, but I'm gonna keep my eyes closed to trick my body into thinking I'm still asleep. It's like one of those. For Luminora, you kind of rustle awake, and then you're like, what's out there? And now that Luminora is half awake, give me an investigation or a perception check at disadvantage as you go to the front of your tent and you look out to see what's going on.
Said me too.
Nope, you with nat ones, you're like, oh, something woke me up. Oh, that's right, I have to pee. So with an 8, Luminara, you kind of like go to the front of your tent. You look out. You're still kind of like half awake, half asleep. You're looking around. You see these barren trees kind of like blowing in the wind. There's not a whole lot going on, but you see movement. But it just looks like trees going in the wind.
Can I rub my eyes to get more focus?
I'll let you roll a perception check again, but it'll still be at disadvantage because you're like waking up.
Right. Yeah, so Luminora, she's just gonna clear her eyes a little bit here.
Doesn't do a whole lot from an 8 to a 9 because of the disadvantage. You see a little bit more. You see what looks like some sort of animal scurrying off in the distance, and you're like, okay, we're in the wilderness, we're camping, and then you go back to bed. The sun starts to rise the next day, and when you wake up, as you start to collect your goods, your bags, everything like that, all three of you realize that you're each down 8 gold.
Sucks.
Rich!
You weren't robbed blind, but you lost something.
Them damn leprechauns. Anyone see them?
That's alright. I want to look for tracks or something, maybe.
Give me a nature check for tracking.
Survival.
Survival. Let's do yeah, that sounds better.
That's only a 6, Cotton.
You see a lot of different footprints, whether it's horse, your footprints, elves. You just see footprints coming and going. But also, you know, you had conversations late into the night. You know that they had conversations late into the night. You know, Gilly kind of like paces from time to time before you go to bed. You know, there's just can't tell up from down when it comes to tracks.
All right, but we did get a long rest.
You did get a long rest.
Woohoo! Yay!
And this was my fault because I was like, you guys level up, and then only gave you a short rest worth of time. So you're back up to full for everything because of this long rest. And then from there, are you going to go closer to the Crimson Water? Or are you going to kind of keep rounding the shore to get yourself a little bit further north to maybe catch the lightning rail to move on past here? Or what are you doing?
I think we need to at least send word back to like the regent that, you know, we found somebody dumping some kind of sludge into the waters that kind of resembles some of the black stuff they've been mentioning before, but we didn't find out why or what it actually does yet. And then we need to send some kind of communication, I think, just to let them know we're not dead. But the airship and all is still back at the last city. And it'd be a full day's ride or so just to get back there.
You know, if we could find any sort of settlement, I do have some contacts I could probably reach out to.
Well, I'd say we're probably about halfway between Valor and Griffin Claw at this point. So, if we want to keep heading up towards the Lightning Rail, we can go north to Griffin Claw. They might have. I'm guessing that the messenger house is still around. So,
side note, I do have criminal contact, so I could probably get a message. It does say you know how to get messages to and from your contact, even over great distances.
But with that, you should probably have to be in some place that's populated. Right now, you're in the middle of not just no man's land, but like desolate no man's land.
Yeah. See, I mean, I guess if we could find like literally anywhere that has a populace, I mean, maybe not, you know.
Well, yeah, I'm saying if we keep on and get to a town with, assuming House Cybus is still around, one of their outposts would be able to send any kind of message or anything for us. So, I don't remember how big, the Griffin, whatever it is, Griffin Claw. Don't remember how big of a town that is.
For Valerian and Luminora, give me a history check.
History. 17, DM.
So with the 17, you know that Griffin Claw it's not a major city, but it's a good sized town. You know, you would know that there's at least a contact or two there for you. But you are kind of like equal parts between Griffin Claw and Tear Valier. Both of those would have contacts for you to send a message to get back to the King of Valinor, or the acting king.
All right.
So depending on what your travel plans are, you could go either way.
So that stream that we, rode out on in the boat, was that flowing north or south?
It was flowing west, like east to west. It was basically making its way from the edge of... Oh, I guess you said that you don't see the city names. So from here towards the Glass Plateau, which is here.
Yeah. So it's flowing deeper into the Mournland.
Yeah, it was heading very central from where you were. Also, Schaloan, give me a history check with advantage. So with an 18 from conversations from the night prior and your experience of seeing just like desolate land, you know from your travels that the northern parts of the Mournlands have small towns, but you're a very good way, like a very good distance from those places, but you do know that this is not what all of the Mournlands are, is what you've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So on that note, what are you guys wanting to do?
Well, we can either ride back to Tervalor. The airship's probably still there with whatever that goof's name was.
Amory, dude.
And we could take the airship somewhere else, fly in style. Or, we're not that far from Griffin Claw. We can also ride up to Lake Sire, see if there's anything going on at the lake, see if there's any signs of the water being contaminated there. And then from there, make our way around the lake over towards the nearest lightning rail to pick up actual, train from there. To be heading back seems counterproductive because we'll lose a day back there. Might not see anything. Probably won't see anything new on the way back.
No, I don't think we should go back, but what gets this information into the right hands the fastest?
I think we gotta get to some kind of town where we can use one of the messenger guild or House Cybus or something to send it back.
To the nearest town, then.
Like I said, we're halfway between two, roughly. So we could ride for a day. If we go to Griffin Claw, we'll probably get out of the Mournlands a little quicker. Riding back to Tail Valor, we're pretty much riding through most of the Mournland most of the way back.
To Griffinland, then. Griffin
Claw.
To Griffin Claw, then.
I always prefer Hufflepuff.
Sorry.
Yeah, you talked over my joke.
Oh, fuck. My bad.
Slytherin or bust. Anyway.
Yeah, I say let's do that.
All right. Let's
Do what?
We're gonna pack up and make our way towards Griffin Claw.
Huzzah!
All right. So you pack up, you start riding, you come to the wall that is
The wall?
Yeah, the Mournlands wall. The cloudy border that is terrifying to look upon. You start riding, it takes you a day and a half. You stop partway through, to rest, and then you keep moving on, and you are just outside of Griffin Claw, and we're going to have one more night before you actually get into town. So you have you set up camp, the rides, Gilly, everything that you have with you is poached up, and you're sitting around a fire, making whatever sort of rations you have for meals. And what sort of conversations are you having before you ride into Griffin Claw the following morning?
Anybody else got any ideas of what the heck they were doing with that stuff? I mean, if the stream was flowing deeper into the moorlands, I don't know how that would be poisoning places outside of it. It's kind of why I wanted to go up to the lake to make sure it wasn't filtering up that way somehow.
I can't seem to get that image of the I can't get that image of the statue. Clearly, it was something religious or pseudo-religious in nature.
Yeah, it was odd. It looked dwarvenish, but didn't look like anything I'd ever seen.
That makes it more disturbing.
Yeah. But I don't know. Something's not adding up. I mean, normally, if you find people dumping stuff into the water, you can usually find more of a source of it. But we had all those casks of it, but we didn't know where that stuff came from, unless they were just harvesting it from those bodies. And then there wasn't enough bodies there to fill all those casks. So where'd they get all?
Clearly, they want to spread it somewhere. Why?
Right. Well, raw, and what does it do when they spread it?
It does seem to like blood.
Yeah. Something seems to sizzle. The other question is, where'd this black stuff come from? Doesn't look like anything I've ever seen. Not something you can just pull out of the ground.
It's evil. I can tell you that.
No, it's definitely unnatural. And the other thing that doesn't add up is there's undead in the building above, but none below. So are the undead even related to that, or are they just randomly wandering around? Which is unusual for what I've heard of the Mournland.
I think we have too many questions, but not enough answers. So I suppose it's all speculation after that. Before that.
Any theories over there, Luminara?
What was that?
Any theories?
No, I don't have any theories.
I need...
Wondering where it all connects.
Sorry to put you on the spot. I need Luminara to give me a history check with advantage. So with a 16, this was like a secondary thing that you had come across. You just didn't know a lot about it when you made your way to the capital of Valinor. So, I mean, this was something that you had heard about. And also, I need Valerian to give me a history check again with advantage as well.
13.
Just because both of you have been on the continent while Cass has been on the Astral Sea, you've heard whispers of this. They just call it the darkness, the sickness, Blythe. It's not, you don't have definite connections to it, but you've heard of it.
Sure.
From your travels, because neither of you are from Valinor. Valinor. Sorry, I don't know why I said that so weird. Neither of you are from that country on the continent or that region, but you've heard of this. But you don't know much about it. Nor does anyone, really. But you've heard of this sickness, so it kind of makes this connection for you of heard of it. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it's from.
So at least we know we didn't just like discover this.
Yeah, it's not like fully unheard of. It's just you don't know what it is. You don't know what it means. You don't know where it came from. Like for Valerian, like it's just been like whispers. You know, it's just kind of been in the background of that communication circle that you have. For Luminora, it's, you know, through her travels, like she's heard of it. She may have seen infected people from it, but she doesn't really know. You don't really know what it is. This is the first time that either of you have seen it like in a raw situation where it's just like the full sludge, not just what comes from it. So now you're just outside of Griffin Claw, deciding what to do next. Do you take the lightning rail further? Do you reach back to the town of Pilus Meridol, the new capital? What's up? What's up?
I think when we get into town, Cass would want to send a message through, if House Cybus is still around, to the capital, back to the Regent. We explored parts of the Mournland outside of Terra Valinor up through the Crimson Lake. Found kobolds dumping some kind of black sludge into the stream there. Don't know what the stuff is or what it does. We have a small sample. You know, how should we go about getting it investigated?
I don't know what kind of check I should ask for that. I mean, because you're right outside Griffin Claw, so I mean, realistically, could probably send a messenger, whether it's Edgar J. Hoover.
Well, that's why I was asking if, like, I'd wait till we're in the town of Griffin Claw, and then if House Cybus is still around, they would always have outposts where you could send messages through, kind of like a, you know, mail service / communications guild.
Yeah, I mean, House. Well,
House.
give me a. House Cybus is still around. They're still around. So, you know, you're on the outskirts of town. So that's the message that you want to send back to the King Regent. Do you want to send anything else?
We should probably try to give him that sample. Or get that sample back to somebody who can actually look at it.
Well, that's why I actually asked them who should take a look at it. Because I don't feel comfortable sending it anywhere. So basically just asking, you know, sending a one message station, probably like a page worth of you know, information to them.
So I'm just curious, like, I don't know if we're gonna be stickler on the exact logistics of this, but like, if we send our message through House Cybus here, are we gonna have to wait here for a message back, or can we resume our travels a little bit?
No, we can always put in our message that, you know, we're making our way to Gatherhold, which would be the first major lightning rail stop we could get to.
I was gonna say, because otherwise by contact I can get messages to and from. I thought I couldn't get them to, so.
Valerian, give me a We're just going to call it. Just give me a d20 for a communications check.
13, DM.
If you wanted to use his network, it would get there and back faster.
I'm cool with that.
But it might not be the most reliable.
It does say you have a reliable and trustworthy contact.
But is it more reliable than the King's network? Or is it less reliable?
And that's why I'm looking at like the House Cybers, because they're outside of any nation's network. They're independent.
It doesn't matter to me. Either one works.
I mean, whatever you choose to decide, both will work. It's just, do you want to send one through like official royal channels and tell them where you're going? Or do you want to go through the back channels and hope for the best? Or tell them where you're going?
I mean, Valerian would advocate for his contact because he's worked with him for years. Whereas I'm sure Cass is probably more of a, go through the houses type of guy. So leave it up to Luminora. She'll decide. She'll be the tiebreaker.
You said through the houses?
Well, yeah, House Cybers is the messenger house. They have the ability to do sending spells and other stuff between locations and use sending stones to send messages from location to location.
Versus the criminal contact, right? Through Valerian?
Yeah.
My understanding? Okay.
Official or back channels? What do you think is going to be faster? What do you think is going to be more efficient?
The house.
Houses?
Well, I mean, with the criminal contact, I don't want it to, somehow fall in the wrong hands. Getting passed through.
He's reliable and trustworthy.
Schaloan, give me a trust check. Just roll a d20. DC 10. DC 12.
The insight check.
Insight. Yeah, that would be better.
Wait, so 12?
Yeah, just give me an insight check, but it's a DC 12.
Like that?
No, well, you would add your wisdom.
No, not a
D12. Hit insight.
Just roll an insight check.
You have to get over a 12 to.
Ooh, Daddy.
Before I answer, what are your concerns between using back channels of for hire individuals or going through the royal channel?
So my concern is simply it getting passed off in the wrong hands, that someone may use that for their own agenda or something. That's, I guess, what I would be more concerned about, whereas through the house would be official. But I guess there are corrupt ones even in that occasionally.
And then on top of that, before I answer what that nat 20 does, are you looking to wait in this town for an answer or continue on it with your travels further north to the lightning rail? What are you hoping for? What's the party hoping for?
I would say maybe.
Oh, good.
Sorry.
I would say,
my sister. Never mind.
Yeah, I would say, tell them to leave a message for us in, Gatherhold, which would be the next major city that we would be heading if we wanted to get to a lightning rail.
I think we should
try the lightning rail.
Yeah, Valerian thinks we should probably try to continue on and not waste time here if we can.
With a nat 20, an official line of communication, because you were hired by the throne, but you are crossing borders to get to Gatorhold. You can hope for and assume, because it is a time of peace, that's going to be open communication. So if you send something off and then cross borders, you're going to get reliable correspondence. If you go through the throne, House Ibis as messengers. You can also, with a nat 20, deduct that through the back channels of the underbelly of society, you might hear something back faster, but it might be charged one way or another for political gain.
Okay.
But you'll probably get a response faster. Like, there will be a response ready for you by the time you get to Gatorhold, but you're not sure if you can trust it. Just because of the fact that there's not a royal stamp on it, but you are crossing borders, and you're not necessarily loyal to the throne of Valinor. They kind of bullied you into this mission. So, I mean, you're the deciding vote on this. Both will be there. Which one can you choose? Which one do you go with? One ethically is going to be more aligned with the truth. The other one's just going to go faster, but you don't know if you can trust it.
I would wonder with Valerian's contacts if he might be able to find somebody who could take a look at this sludge. I'm sure there's maybe poisoners or other people that you've come across in your time that might, be able to take a look at this.
You could probably get a message to somebody to message to his guy to ask around.
I mean,
Well,
no sense.
His back is a name.
No sense not playing both sides. Tell the king, the regent that we found people dumping poison into the waters, but at the same time use Valerian's contacts to try to find maybe find out more information on the sludge. And we don't mention the sludge in the letters. We just say, hey, we found people dumping some kind of black poison, and just leave it, and then say we're gonna continue following up towards Gatherhold.
Yeah, I like that. Let's do that. That way they know, we're alive. We found some things out.
But we didn't just run.
Mm-hmm. And we can kind of get more information on the side.
So you want to kind of play both sides.
Exactly. Yep, just as Dave suggested.
Fantastic. So you send off the message, and you head up to Gatorhold.
Yeah, start our way. That's going to be a long...
Yeah.
That is...
And that's where we will end this episode.
Woo!
As you are making the several-day trip up to Gatorhold.
Yeah, it's like 250 miles. That's
4 or 5 days.
That's 5 days of travel.
Fantastic.
Road trip.
Now, for anyone that's listening that would like to support us, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/allthingsnerd. It's a great way to support this show. It's a monthly donation, so we would appreciate some monies. We don't pocket anything. It goes right back into the show. Like I said, it's a great way to support this. Also, if you don't want to give us your money, I mean, that's kind of lame, but whatever. You can head on to wherever you find this show, this podcast. Like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date on episodes, any sort of news and announcements that we might put out wherever you get your podcast from. Does anyone have any, I don't know, like things of note, things that you're enjoying that you want to plug?
No, not this week.
Fantastic.
Not this week.
I don't enjoy anything, Chad.
Yeah, I've caught on. If our listeners are nerds and like breakdowns of things in nerd media or nerd news or anything like that, you can check out our parent podcast, the All Things Nerd podcast, wherever you get your nerd fix, or at allthingsnerdpodcast.com. Otherwise, just like play games, stay nerdy. Tell us what you're listening to. That sounds fun. And then outside of that, I mean, this is the Kobolds in the Basement podcast. And thank you, and we love you, and goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
See ya.